Today offers further proof that the soul of America is vibrant, the future of America is bright, and the promise of America is real and just beginning.
President Biden made a brief stop at the White House today between his vacations to sign the Inflation Reduction Act. The law is yet another big win for the president, and his poll numbers are showing it. His Real Clear Politics average now above 40%. Of course, the president has been out of the limelight for most of the winning streak. Chris Hahn's here, host of the Aggressive Progressive podcast. You know, I'm thinking about this bill. Infrastructure and Investment Jobs Act, America Recovery Act, $1.2 trillion. Chips and Science Act, $280 billion. America Rescue Plan, $1.9 trillion. Now we add on to this the Inflation Reduction Act of $700+ billion. Does anybody actually believe it's going to reduce inflation?
I believe it's going to reduce inflation because that's what it has been shown to do economically. It's going to reduce inflationary pressures within our economy. But more importantly, look, his numbers are improving, as you said, and his numbers are improving is because Democrats are coming back to him. They felt like he wasn't acting on the priorities that they sent him to Washington to. And Democrats are a lot more fickle than Republicans who rally around their president, whoever he is. Democrats will take their politicians to task. You
know what's always funny is I always hear both sides say that about their own party, right? Both parties complain that their own people are a lot more fickle than the other side. It's remarkable. But you say Democrats are coming home because of principles. July 21st, the president catches COVID. That was the low point, is an approval number average, 36%. Yeah. Biden announces death of al-Qaeda leader, takes no questions, approval at 39. Biden signs 2 bills into law, takes no questions, 39. Biden vacations to South Carolina, 40. Signs Inflation Reduction Act into law, 40%. So Real Clear Politics average is up between 4 and 4.5 points. His Rasmussen tracking numbers are up 7%. All that's happened is he's disappeared. It's like when he was running for president, he was back in the basement.
You know, it's like I said a week ago, he's going to be in the mid-40s by Election Day, and that's going to be good for Democrats. And yes, he's been in the basement, but so much of a presidential approval rating has nothing to do with the president. It could be more about the fact that gas prices have fallen for like 80 straight days and appear to be well on their way to going back to where they were before the war in Ukraine began. So that American people feel good about that. You know, when gas goes down 60%, 60 cents a gallon, that impacts Americans immediately, and it has virtually nothing to do with the president, yet it impacts his numbers. This bill, look, Chuck Schumer was much more responsible for getting this bill passed than Joe Biden was, but it's still Joe Biden's to live or die with.
Yeah, the other Joe Manchin, was probably even more responsible as well.
I did work for Chuck Schumer.
Okay, well, so you know,
I'm going to give their credit.
You know, the aggressive progressive and the loyal liberal. There you go.
I'm loyal to the guy who made me.
I'm thinking about how they're selling this, though. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre talking about the question I asked you earlier.
When you think about the energy costs and utility bills because of the investments that we're making, they're going to feel that right away.
They're going to feel that right away.
They're going to feel that right away.
How soon?
Well, let's get this bill passed, and then we'll see how the mechanics and all of that's going to work through.
It's proven to do so much. Shouldn't we know?
Oh, I think we know. Right.
Oh,
some of the stuff doesn't go into effect until 2025, especially things like the Medicare cost savings and the prescription drugs negotiation.
Yeah, hold on. I just want you told the truth, which I appreciate. Some of this stuff doesn't even go into effect until 2025. When people hear that and then they hear the Inflation Reduction Act, don't they automatically say, hey, just call it what it is, which is the progressive wish list that we couldn't pass at $6 trillion or $3 trillion or $2 trillion?
Well, I don't think it's the entire wish list, but it's a good start.
Yeah.
And you know, the price tag of it, let's be very clear. This is a 10-year reconciliation bill. This is not $700 billion being spent this year, which is always, you know, part of the messaging problem on bills like this. People are like, oh, it's a $2 trillion bill, but it's $2 trillion over 10 years. So it's $200 billion a year, which is, you know, a rounding error in the federal budget in a lot of ways. So it needs to be discussed the way it is, and it's a very difficult thing to discuss. But look, Joe Biden's going to benefit for it because Democrats who were really down on him in the polls are now coming back and saying, yeah, he's doing a good job.
last question for you in terms of whether the polls are a policy issue or a messaging issue. Here is Secretary Granholm trying to sell it as well. Take a listen.
What specifically will this bill do to lower costs for Americans right now?
This first of all, immediately, people will be able to lower the fuel costs in their home. There's a 30% tax credit that you can claim in 2022 for installing energy-efficient windows, heat pumps, energy-efficient appliances. That is right away. And on top of that, of course, if citizens want to install solar panels on their roofs so that they can generate their own power, that's another 30% tax credit.
Chris, when people are trying to pay a grocery bill now and trying to make ends meet, a 30% tax credit on solar panels, I don't know. It's like handing a man in a tsunami a ham sandwich or something. It's not what people need.
No, I hear you. What they need is gas prices to keep falling, and Joe Biden and the Democrats who want to win.
But that's not what this bill.
That's
not what this bill's about. That's what I keep going back to. Is part of the reason for the poll numbers this feeling that he and his administration are just totally out of touch and focused only on climate change.
I think that the reason why they named this the Inflation Reduction Act is they finally learned their lesson all of these years, watching Republicans name bills that had nothing to do with what they did and saying, what do people care about right now? Well, they care about inflation. Let's name it about that. And it's a good thing. It's about time Democrats do that. They better do that all the time between now and November.
All right. Well, there you go. We'll see if there's any more bills between now and November. A playbook from Republicans is the headline. Thank you, Chris.
There you go.
There you go. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.